back to MECH, everybody. Again, I'm Wads, and we are starting up again. I am here again in the nest, one of the last few recordings. In March, you'll see that all this will start to change because I will be moving. But you're not here to see that. You are here for the deck profile. Oh yeah! Now this deck profile comes brand new. Nothing that I've ever tried before. And Overwhelming Advantage Planes has been done before, so I have to give props to all the people. I'm not 100% who ran it, so whoever you are, thanks for pioneering the thing, and I took a brand new take on it. So we're going to go ahead and dive right in. This deck profile is crazy, because this can cheat up to 3 upgrades in one turn. So you can Overwhelming, literally, boom, right as you go, all in one go. Now, the setup for it and the sequencing is a little tricky sometimes, but I find that it's pretty consistent, honestly, and I'm probably going to give it a try at one of my local tournaments. But that's enough out of me. Let's go ahead and dive right in. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. We're going to start with the bot lineup. First things first, we're going to start with my boy, Jetfire. Oh, yeah, perfect choice for Overwhelming Advantage Planes. I saw that a lot of people who pioneered Overwhelming Advantage with planes used Airstrike Patrol, and that build has been amazing because they're essentially untouchable as long as you keep your flips and people where they need to be. But I don't know why, as soon as this was suggested to me, when Ben Corkum gave me the idea for Overwhelming Advantage Planes, my mind went straight to this guy. The bold one is great, but really, it's for this. You flip him over and he gets to recur an armor or a utility, and that is crazy. Being able to pick that stuff up just means that he's going to be able to set himself up that much faster. You can cheat 2 upgrades with this guy in one turn. And being able to jump ahead that fast means you could potentially set this up in 2 turns. 2! That's insane! I could take my second turn and all of a sudden he's throwing out Overwhelming Advantage and kaboom! You've lost or seriously crippled, if you think General Optimus, your big gun. I mean, what happens when Optimus is down to 6 health? That's crippling. 1 big hit and he's gone. Alright, that's enough of that. We're moving on to our second bot. I picked Slipstream. Originally, it was for this alt mode side. I love being able to fling damage back. I bought this card before the Energon Edition was announced. It made me sad knowing that the Energon Edition was on its way and I could have just picked it up. Because honestly, being able to get that all-out attacks and tandem targeting system is something I'm sad I missed. But let's tuck that aside. This thing's crazy, because you have to think, you're running a lot of Skittles in this deck. And that's what we've been calling it. I noticed that Stefan was using that term when he was talking about it the other day. And I heard him use it way back in the day, and I liked it and just kind of kept it. Anyway, with the skills being around, her bot mode skill is crazy. When she flips at least 3 different icons. There's 5 of them in this deck. Green icons are so relevant right now. But now we got black icons too. That's 5 icons. You only need 3. And she goes up to a 6 for an 8 cost with 13 health. That's insane. She's so good. And I've had so many turns where she flips wedge formation along with another orange. And holy crap, all of a sudden she's swinging for 8 with Pierce. She's swinging for 8 with Pierce. She's an 8-star. That's crazy. That's Optimus Prime territory. Anyway, like I said, I originally picked it for the fling, but when I realized I could flip her and she can swing so beefy on the first turn, insane. I love it. Now, originally this used Flamore, and Flamore worked okay because it helped me get through my deck so I could start recurring stuff, but I found that it really didn't help overall. The advantage wasn't great. I apologize for the background noise. My cats are crazy. Private Flak is where I ended up landing. And the stealth is good, the 2 defense is good, the 7 health for 5 stars, not bad. I mean, Sergeant Cup is 7 stars and he has the same amount of health. And we all know how I feel about Cup. Hashtag Cup life. Anyway, the real big reason is, once you get to late game, if they start doing a lot of destruction, you can flip him to this mode, and all of a sudden you can cheat 3 upgrades in one turn by tapping Flak and then flipping Jetfire to bot mode. You can cheat all 3 upgrades in one turn. Then what are they going to do? What are they going to do? The only thing that'll stop you at that point is a sabotaged armaments, and you can basically do your timing for that. Oh, all of a sudden they gotta beat up your flak. Okay, well I only got one upgrade left to play anyways. Ba-bam, ba-bam, ba-bam. And all of a sudden their big guys take an overwhelming advantage and getting blown to pieces. I'm not saying this deck is the most consistent thing. It's not. I just think that it works very well. And this lineup is where I landed, and I think it works extremely well. But we're going to get out of that, and we're going to jump right into upgrades. All right, let's get into this. All right, to start off with, 3 backup beams. The extra bold is fantastic to try and make sure that trigger works. Green icon for recurring, and there's your blue. Not much more to be said about that. If I remember correctly, a lot of the Airstrike Patrol ones use this too for their blue icon, and the bold definitely helps. Plus, with the green icon, the Airstrike Patrol can really take advantage of it. No pun intended. Anyway, next up we got 3 Medic's Protective Field. Now this one was one I hadn't considered at first, but the more I looked at it, the more I loved it, because, oh, I'm going to make sure that Jetfire's healing up. Oh, and then he's not attacking this turn, I'll flip him down and then fling with Slipstream. And suddenly he's back to full health, because he only took 2 from whatever, and now safeguards in place to keep him alive. It works really well, and the extra heal is huge. Plus, I don't have to worry so much about it popping like with Force Field. Because, I mean, they could just hit it. With Force Field, they can just hit him and the shield just pops. This will at least stick around for a little bit. Like I said, it has its place, but it's really good early game to keep people protected. Alright, we got 3 Immersed in Shadow. Now, I originally wasn't sure how I felt about this in here when I originally put it in, but the more I played this build, the more I liked it. As you can see, there's your 5 icons right there. And having Stealth while untapped basically means that between Flak being in alt mode and Jetfire having this and being untapped, they basically have to just keep beating up Slipstream. And with 13 health, it takes a few attacks to put her down. I thought that it was fantastic, and it's proved to honestly be quite useful. Plus, when I want to keep Jetfire alive, I can also flip Flak, and all of a sudden, oh, now only one of them has Stealth while untapped? Well, I guess I gotta beat and waste an attack on your little guy. Alright, I got 2 Force Fields, because late game this can make a difference with keeping me alive. Now, with direct damage being as relevant as it is, I know that Force Field can and can't be good at this point. But I found that it works really well here. Every game I've tested it in so far has worked very well. And being able to recur it with Jetfire means that, oh, it popped, well, I'll flip him back and get it again. So you'll have to make it pop again or just do small damage. And then last but not least, I got 2 Pocket Processors. Not fantastic for the setup, but I can drop it on Slipstream or Flak and get the extra draws so I can make sure that my hand is set up the way I want. And that's pretty much what I go for with that. I found that the hand advantage was lacking, so Pocket Processor was not obvious. It was a very easy choice as far as addition to it. I just wanted to make sure I could recharge my hand every time, because I find that I'm playing a lot of cards for the setup and the launch, especially if Slipstream's alive, I can get the plan, and this just lets me get stuff back in my hand. That's it for upgrades. There's not a lot to go off of, but I found that it's pretty easy with backup beam being fishable and all these being recurable by Jetfire that it's so easy to just set everything up the way I want. So that's all I got to say about that. We're going to go ahead and dive straight into actions. Alrighty, jumping into actions. There's a lot more actions, as you could probably guess, than there are upgrades, but I find that that's alright. Obviously, we're going to start off with, we have 3 Overwhelming Advantage. It is the core competency of the deck. Basically, we're setting up for that. The alternative win condition is just beat everything down, which is entirely possible, but I find that with it being fishable, it's not hard to get it, so once it's set up, we can go. Now, you'll have noticed that my team is only 23 stars, so I get 2 star cards, and I opted for Fuel Cache. I don't play it very often because I find that it doesn't hit well, but being able to plan it or flip it, I mean, having 3 out of the 5 icons was a fantastic add-on for this. And honestly, I'd be harder pressed to find something that's more useful than this in this particular deck. Next up, we got 3 security checkpoints. You all know and love this card. Double blue, scrap upgrades from your opponent's hand. It can be a good setup. The double blues were great for defending. I couldn't find a reason not to include a full set of this card. It's wonderful. Alright, and then next up we have 3 wedge formations. Now, I don't normally play this card because if you notice, everybody on the team is ranged. So really it's just a 1-for-1. Most of the time it's just for setup or for flipping the icons. It has 3 icons, which is great because then all I need is a white and a blue. Which, if I flip a fuel cache and a wedge formation, then there we go. Good to go. That's pretty much the only reason I run it. I don't normally fish for it unless I know that Slipstream is going to be alive when it's time to plan. But if I have fuel cache, I'm obviously going to opt for that instead because I'm going to get the bonus flips off the white icon. Oh, excuse me. Next up, we have 3 steady shots. I found that when I did the initial build that I was lacking a lot of black icons on the hits, so steady shot was a good include. I can drop it on Slipstream for a +2. Having the 2 icons makes it good for flipping because then I can make sure the extra blue means that it's good for defending, black for pierce. I mean, it's all around it was pretty useful. Now, I got 3 copies of Swerve. This one was a tricky add-on. I don't normally set Swerve. Normally I plan it. The black icons were why it was included. I needed more white icons for the flipping. And it was a tricky choice, but sometimes I will set that just so Slipstream can flip back to her mode where she has 2 defense and potentially keep her alive a little stretch longer. Sometimes with Jetfire too. That way I can recur again right away. Now, keeping on track with that, I'm running 2 copies of Escape Route. That's pretty much what I use it for. It's fishable, so I can plan with it if I need to, if Slipstream's still alive when it comes time. But it lets me flip Jetfire down. I can recur that first piece, and then flip him down. And then on my next turn, I can flip him again, and play my last upgrade, and then play my weapon. So, I can tell you now, when I was testing this, and when I was first learning this deck, I misplayed a lot with this card because I didn't use it, and it set me back a turn. I've learned that if Jetfire is not going this turn, and I have this in my hand, flip him, take something, and flip him back. It's saved my butt so many times, and it works. At least for me. Next up, I got 2 Rock Toss. Normally, I would just include Zap if I'm looking for direct damage, but having the black icon was great for the additional flips. It was extremely useful, and every now and then it'll include a kill. Like, oh, I managed to do, that 5 damage to Optimus, then 08 him, and then, he's sitting at that 1 health. Well, I don't want him to energy pack, so I'm going to go ahead and Rock Toss him to kill him. Or something similar to that. Or maybe your Flame War's alive by 1 after Slipstream swings in for a big swing, because she triggers, like I said, she triggers pretty easily in this deck with all the different icons. I got 2 rollouts, again, for the double icons. It's fantastic, and it has the same principle as Escape Route, so if I draw a rollout, I don't necessarily need to fish for Escape Route, unless I'm getting it, like I said, just to stack it with OA. I've got 2 system reboots. I found I needed to be able to refresh my hand, and I needed more white icons because I found I was not hitting them often enough. So I was originally going to go Work Overtime. I like Work Overtime, but in this deck, I think it's better because it disrupts the opponent's hand as well as refreshes my own. And if I'm sitting on if I top deck that card after an OA, and I need to draw back up, there we go. Last but not least, I have 2 copies of Smelt. I was originally going to go with 1 because 1 seems to be the safe bet. But running 2, again, is just for the icons. It being fishable means I can pick it up when I need it, and it works in this case. It doesn't necessarily work fantastically, but it works. That's pretty much it for the deck. There's no sideboard. There is no sideboard. I focus entirely on Overwhelming Advantage because it sets up in basically 1 or 2 turns. If this deck isn't going to set up, then it's not going to do what it needs to do. There is no backup plan. Literally, I'm running system reboot. But that, all joking aside, there's nothing. I don't switch into anything else. This is it. I didn't plan that far ahead. If it works, it works. That's fantastic. If it doesn't work, well, regroup, go to the next round, and pray I can pick up the pieces. But that's pretty much it. Alright guys, I want to thank y'all for coming out and supporting me like you always do. You guys are awesome. I don't have much more left to say. I'll be dropping some more gameplay featuring this deck during the week. Hopefully I'll get another game in or two with it sometime before the weekend. And that's it. Thanks for coming out. This is MECH. I'm Wads. And remember, make every card